Alrighty, so the final game of Heineken Rivalry Weekend is in the books, and hey, last week when the Quakes got that big win against LAFC at Levi Stadium, and how I hear some people saying, well, looks like this is a turning point for the Quakes. For once, this is not going to be like before, where the Quakes finally will have hope, and Luchi Gonzalez would really guide this team near the top part of the Western Conference. Yeah, about that. And this is why, for many years, I'm always been pessimistic with the Quakes, and I always will not use the word hope and basically said that, well, yeah, it looks like things have turned around because I've been fooled so many times, and it's getting to a point where I'm not fooled at all, and even not surprised whenever the Quakes can look like they maybe have a turning point where things are going to go well, and then they just put out a flat performance. And in this Cali Clasico against the Galaxy, yeah, this was just a flat out flat performance for the Quakes. Though you got to give a lot of credit to the Galaxy. And this is the thing that we saw last week when Chicharito basically had some strong words, not only on the players, but also on the front office that they need to play better. And yeah, these past couple of days, it's been positive performance for this Galaxy team because after they took down the Seattle Sounders in the U.S. Open Cup, they follow up with a Cali Clasico win that they thoroughly deserve the way that they play in this game against the Quakes. Now, early on, I thought the Quakes actually had most of the possession, and the Galaxy was elected to sit back and counter early. And early on, I thought this was kind of what I usually see with a Luchi Gonzalez team, a team that kind of dominate possession and maybe work this Galaxy defense throughout the game. Turns out that was not how it went because after Ibovasi would head one right to Bond, Chicharito pulled one just wide in the back post before he just couldn't put it in the back post. And early on, Chicharito was everywhere. Like the Quakes were really having a lot of problem in terms of tracking Chicharito, which is not the first time I've seen that happen. He's been tormented this Quakes defense in the past before, and that I also wrote already. He's been left unmarked twice in the first 10 minutes, and you cannot left the most dangerous attacker for the Galaxy unmarked that many times before they get punished. But that being said, the shots were only one apiece as the Quakes were struggling on the final third, and on the other end, the Galaxy was just putting too many of those hopeless crosses and no product whatsoever. Pooch then hits one right to Mark Sinkowski before Chicharito pulls it wide from long range. Boyd then fires it wide from 18, and again, the Galaxy, they started to create some good chances, albeit, most of those weren't really kind of high percentage chances. It was low percentage chances from outside the box. But that also being said, I thought the Quakes need to do better in terms of closing down because they were letting way too much space in the 18-yard box, allowing the Galaxy to shoot on side, and that they got to do a better job in terms of closing down because one of these good looks that the Galaxy might have from long range could actually test Mark Sinkowski and maybe even ends up in the back of net. But I also noted that the passing has been horrendous, and that would be a huge theme in this game for the Quakes, where passing was non-existent throughout this game. No one can pass, and the midfield just kind of looked lost. It was just getting overwhelmed time and time again by this Galaxy team. But thankfully for the Quakes, despite how poorly they played in that first half, they were able to hit that halftime scoreless between the Galaxy and the Quakes in this Cali Clasico. Now in the second half, pretty much the same story. The Galaxy continued to be on the front foot and were looking for the opener. The Quakes once again could not keep possession because they were giving the ball away way too many time and couldn't pass whatsoever, and also string in a transitional attack. Bergman would then fire us at high from long range before Mark Sinkowski denied Caligari from long range. And by the way, up to this point, I was about to say that I want to apologize to anyone that decided to watch this Clasico and maybe be even a national televised audience watching this, because I think there was times where Daniel Slayton mentioned the fact that yeah, this game looks very flat, and it was. I mean, it was very flat. There was just no intensity that was shown like what we've seen in previous Cali Clasico, and it just looked like this had a nil-nil written all over it, and this was going to be on point with DC United versus Nashville in terms of the most boring game for this weekend. But then things kind of changed because after Mark Sinkowski denied Caligari from long range, Galaxy gets the opening goal. It's Caceres. He scored here from Rodriguez to give the Galaxy a 1-0 lead. There was actually a huge appeal from the Quakes player that there was a handball and offside there from the corner. I didn't really see any handball or offside. I mean, the question is, whether or not if Puig was in an onside position, which he was, because I think there was a Quakes player on the line there, and then you ask, was there a potential handball that he did, and it didn't look like that was the case. If anything, if he did touch the ball already crossed the line. So even if he touched the ball, it wouldn't have mattered because the ball already crossed the line, and once the ball crossed the line, everything just kind of neglect that. So it was a good goal. The Galaxy were up 1-0. Not great defending whatsoever from the Quakes. I mean, set piece defending, it's been a problem for this team for the past couple of years. I can't tell you how many times I've said this for the past couple of years, and it sucks the fact that it still have not been resolved even in this game. Boy then pulls it wide from close ranges. I thought the momentum was all with the Galaxy. They were pressing for the second goal. Boy with fires it high from long range as the shots were 13-2 in favor of the Galaxy. Yeah, it's safe to say that the Galaxy were in complete control in this one. But then in the 66th minute, after Espinoza had a rare Quakes opportunity, but he missed wide there. This was probably the worst game for Christian Espinoza, and probably the worst game for this Quakes attack. Like nothing was going right for this Quakes attacks in this game. In the 68th minute, there was a huge opportunity for Montero, and yeah, Jonathan Bond. I mean, there's a reason why the Galaxy are happy the fact that he's back in net because he absolutely robbed Montero from close range. I mean, Jameer Montero. I mean, he did enough to try to maybe lift that one over Bond so he doesn't make the save, but yeah, just Bond with that cat-like reflexes to deny the Quakes the equalizer. Then Chicharito had a shot on the other end that took a deflection and hits on the roof of the net. And yeah, it took a while, but finally, this looked like the Cali Clasico that we thought we were going to see. It was going to be crazy. It has finally come alive. It kind of become end to end. Of course, obviously, when the goal happens, that can, of course, inject the energy into what has kind of been a lifeless game for most part of this Cali Clasico. Edwards then heads it wide from close to the 74th minute, or the 75th minute, that is. The shots were 14-6 in favor of the Galaxy up to that point, and really as the time winds down, it just looked like the Quakes were giving up. Like there was no pushback whatsoever. There was no intensity. It looked like this was going to be an easy win for the Galaxy, and they pretty much confirmed it in the first minute of stoppage time as Jovic, who just came onto to the pitch, he scored here to make it 2-0 in favor of the Galaxy. But he would like to thank Mensa for this goal because yeah, Jonathan Mensa, I know he's been great this season for the Quakes, but this is just a brutal turnover. Like he literally just gifted right to Jovic, got pickpocket there, and Jovic was in on goal, and you know he's not gonna miss those chances. And yeah, that made it 2-0. That was game, set, and match. Buddha did get on the score sheet to at least making sure the Quakes doesn't get shut out in this one, though I think this probably should have been called back because when you look at this ball was delivered in, it looked like Osani Buddha was in an offside position. I mean, this is like kind of like the second in time this week involving my team where I feel like, well, yeah, this goal probably shouldn't have counted because it looked like it's offside, but you know what? We're just gonna count it because it really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. And really, in this moment, it didn't really matter. It was just way too late for the Quakes to do anything to make this interesting. But yeah, in the end, the Galaxy they win 2-1 in this one. As the shots in this one, 17 shots committed, just 7 that the Quakes had. 3 shots on goal committed, 5 that the Galaxy had. 9 shots off target committed, 1 that the Quakes had. Both teams had 3 shots on block and possession wise 56% possession compared to the 44% possession that the Quakes has in this one as the road struggle continue for the Quakes. And again, I mean, I'm not even surprised the fact that they lost this one, and I think secretly I'm also not that disappointed about this because I kind of knew this was going to happen. I mean, after that big win for the Quakes, I feel like it was too good to be true. The fact that the Quakes can follow up that big win with another big win against another LA team, and that this is also why I've also mentioned times where when a team can get a big win, there could be a chance where you could actually have a higher chance of having a big letdown in the next game than actually use that as a momentum and a springboard into further games. And this was a massive letdown for the Quakes, and I would say easily probably the one of the worst game that they play this season. And that yeah, they need to figure things out because it's not going to be easier for them. I mean, the next game they play against LAFC on the road, and you know LAFC wants to have some revenge after what happened a week ago at Levi Stadium. But there you have it. That is pretty much it in terms of the review of this Cali Clasico to finish off match week number 12, aka Heineken Rivalry Week. Of course, we'll be reviewing the last 4 games of the Saturday night action tomorrow, and then, of course, I have to do the preview for the midweek games because this is the first time this season we actually have a full slate of midweek action, and I have to do it before I make my trip to Minnesota on Tuesday. But yeah, either way, hope you guys enjoy this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.